Hey, everybody, welcome to Reading the Bible to Cats. I always hesitate now to say that because I'm reading the Bible to a couple of stuffed kitties, stuffed animal kitties. But in actuality, I'm reading the Bible to you and I'm reading the Bible for myself. But I feel like obligated to say this during every introduction to a video. I will have kitties again. It's just that Chloe, Joey, Henry, and Guster, um, the kitties that I was reading the Bible to, are now either in heaven or reunited with um, their true mommy, Guster, that is. So here we are with Stan and the unnamed heavier kitty. Okay. Well, I want to read. We're in Second Samuel, so we're going to continue reading through the Bible, and then we're almost done with Revelation. So when we finish that book, I'll just start anew. I'll start reading the New Testament again. And yeah, this is great because I feel like you all are really helping me to be in the Word, and we've got some really intent listeners here. One is very happy go lucky, and the other, he's just a little more serious. Okay. So I hope you all are having a good day. I have like a motivation problem in the mornings. True confessions. It's excuse me. It's Saturday, and sometimes my Saturdays are really boring. But then I just kind of lay around, to be honest. But I made a really wonderful chunky glass of iced coffee, and that motivated me to get up. And then I thought, you know what? I have this little walking pad in my room. I was like, okay, you need to walk for 10 minutes on that. And I played some like happy music, and it really helped me. So I don't know why I'm sharing all this with you, but I really have to move more because I think I have like a little motivational disability or something. I don't know. Maybe it's ADD. I don't know. Or ADHD. I don't know. Anyway, TMI, too much information. Um, okay. Let's read 2 Samuel chapter 16. Okay. When David had gone a short distance beyond the summit, there was Ziba, the steward of Mephibosheth, waiting to meet him. He had a string of donkeys saddled and loaded with 200 loaves of bread, 100 cakes of raisins, 100 cakes of figs, and a skin of wine. The king asked Ziba, "Why have you brought these?" Ziba answered, "The donkeys are for the king's household to ride on, the bread and fruit are for the men to eat, and the wine is to refresh those who become exhausted in the wilderness." The king then asked, "Where is your master's grandson?" Ziba said to him, "He is staying in Jerusalem because he thinks today the Israelites will restore to me my grandfather's kingdom." Then the king said to Ziba, "All that belonged to Mephibosheth is now yours." "I humbly bow," Ziba said. "May I find favor in your eyes, my lord the king." As King David approached Bahurim, a man from the same clan as Saul's family came out from there. His name was Shimei, son of Gera, and he cursed as he came out. He pelted David and all the king's officials with stones, though all the troops and the special guard were on David's right and left. As he cursed, Shimei said, get out, you murderer, you scoundrel. The Lord has repaid you for all the blood you shed in the household of Saul, in whose place you have reigned. The Lord has given the kingdom into the hands of your son, Absalom. You have come to ruin because you are a murderer. Then Abishai, son of Zeruiah, said to the king, why should this dead dog curse my lord the king? Let me go over and cut off his head. But the king said, what does this have to do with you, you sons of Zeruiah? He is cursing because the Lord said to him, curse David. Who can ask, why do you do this? David then said to Abishai and all his officials, my son, my own flesh and blood is trying to kill me. How much more than this Benjamite? Leave him alone. Let him curse, for the Lord has told him to. It may be that the Lord will look upon my misery and restore to me his covenant blessing instead of his curse today. So David and his men continued along the road while Shimei was going along the hillside opposite him, cursing as he went and throwing stones at him and showering him with dirt. The king and all the people with him arrived at their destination exhausted, and there he refreshed himself. Meanwhile, Absalom and all the men of Israel came to Jerusalem, and Ahithophel was with him. Then Hushai the Archite, David's confidant, went to Absalom and said to him, long live the king, long live the king. Absalom said to Hushai, so this is the love you show your friend. If he's your friend, why don't you go with him? Hushai said to Absalom, no, the one chosen by the Lord, by these people, and by all the men of Israel. His I will be, and I will remain with him. Furthermore, whom should I serve? Should I not serve the son? Just as I served your father, so I will serve you. Absalom said to Ahithophel, give us your advice. What shall we do? Ahithophel answered, sleep with your father's concubines, whom he left to take care of the palace. Then all Israel will hear that you have made yourself obnoxious to your father, and the hands of everyone with you will be more resolute. So they pitched a tent for Absalom on the roof, and he slept with his father's concubines in the sight of all Israel. Now in those days, the advice of Ahithophel, sorry everybody, take two. Verse 23, now in those days, the advice Ahithophel gave was like that of one who inquires of God. That was how both David and Absalom regarded all of Ahithophel's advice. Okay, everybody, that is the end of 2 Samuel chapter 16. And wow, what a mess. I'm sorry. That's just like so, it's like an ancient soap opera. It really is. It's like terrible. I mean, first of all, the thing with Mephibosheth, I can't say that 5 times real fast. Mephibosheth, what? I've been pronouncing it the whole time, and now I'm like, I can't. What? I'm having like a mental block. What is wrong with me? Mephibosheth. Okay, got it. Mephibosheth. The thing with Mephibosheth, he was Jonathan's son, and Mephibosheth was this, I don't know, from what I read in the biblical account, he seemed like this sweet guy who had this tragic accident when he was young. His nursemaid was carrying him, and they were fleeing, and they fell, and he became lame, like crippled. And then Jonathan was his dad. King David provided for him, took him in because he was his best friend's son. And so he sat at the king's table. The King David gave him everything. So this account of what this the steward of Mephibosheth said, I looked it up earlier, that apparently the Ziba the steward of Mephibosheth was lying, and that's not actually what Mephibosheth said. I'm sure Mephibosheth was loyal to King David, but this Ziba lied. I read the AI overview earlier, but let's go read the AI overview because I kind of like the AI overview. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so let me read the AI overview of this chapter. Okay. Commentaries on 2 Samuel 16 focus on themes of adversity, the consequences of sin, and trusting God. The chapter details David's humiliating flight from Absalom, which includes being cursed by Shimei and being deceived by Ziba. But David's response is one of patient endurance and humility. Key events include David's wise, though initially rash, decisions to trust God in his suffering, recognizing God's hand in his affliction, and his later regret over a hasty judgment against Mephibosheth. A key moment in David's ability to hear God's message, even through the hate-filled rantings of his enemies. Key themes and interpretations. Trusting in adversity. David's primary response to being cursed by Shimei is to accept it as coming from God, a testament to his humility and faith. He understands that God is allowing these afflictions as a chastisement for his own sin with Bathsheba. Okay, everybody, it is I who's speaking, not the AI overview, but I don't know. I kind of wonder about that. I think King David was just so depressed because he loved his son. He loved Absalom, but his son is wanting to kill him. And I think he was just so down and depressed that he was like, whatever, God's cursing me and this guy, I deserve it. I don't know if that cursing was really from God, but was maybe more from King David's own, arising from King David's own depression and state of mental health. Anyway, let's move on with the AI overview. Dealing with criticism. David's reaction to I can't pronounce Shimei, but I'll just call him Shimei's insults is a lesson in how to handle unfair criticism and bitterness. Instead of lashing out in anger, he shows restraint and trusts that God will ultimately bring good out of his suffering. Consequences of sin. Ahithophel's counsel to Absalom to sleep with David's concubines is seen as a direct fulfillment of the prophecy against David for his sin with Bathsheba, highlighting the destructive power of bitterness and revenge. Hasty judgment. David's rash judgment against Mephibosheth based on Ziba's false claims serves as a cautionary tale about making decisions without proper investigation. This is an event for which David later feels shame when the truth comes to light. Yeah. So Mephibosheth wouldn't have said that, and I'm surprised that King David didn't realize that. But again, King David is someone who's been terribly betrayed by his own family, by his son. So he probably was like, yeah, I guess Jonathan's son is against me as well, instead of realizing that wasn't true. Okay, flattery and deception. The story of Ziba flattering David to gain Mephibosheth's property shows the danger of gullibility and the importance of being wary of flatterers. That's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, I think our heavier kitty understands that flattery is, something to be wary of. But our kitty over here is a little more gullible. Anyway, yeah. I wonder Sorry, this is a total non sequitur, but I wonder. Oh, it makes me kind of sad to think about it because I think about all the kitties I've loved and lost, you know? That's like that old song. I can't remember. Oh, it was Julio Iglesias. To all the women I've loved before. Was that the song? It's like, to all the kitties I've loved before, who've wandered in and out my door. I sing this song to you. I'm glad you came along. Whatever. Anyway, rando. Um, but I'm just wondering, you know, which who God will bring into which kitties will come into my life next. I don't know. I know I'll have another kitty in the future or cat, another 2 cats maybe, God willing. Um, yeah, it's sad to be in my place without Guster and Henry. But it's I know like with Petra, she's Guster and Henry's mom. It took she had a kitty named Belle. Well, and Frankie and Belle. Frankie was my kitty, but they were siblings. Anyway, Belle was like, I love Belle. Anyway, when Frankie and Belle died at like, she was old. She was 19 or 20. But then it took Petra like, I feel like it took her a year maybe to find Guster and Henry. And then it was love at first sight for her at the shelter. But it took a while. So for me, I'm wondering when I will get. Well, I don't think I'll get new kitties for a few months. I think it'll be a few months. So until then, we'll just appreciate the work of these two. Okay, everybody. Well, we'll continue reading Second Samuel, which reads like an ancient soap opera with the Shakespearean um, nuance. I mean, it's beyond Shakespearean, it's biblical. It's really dramatic, isn't it? King David must have been really distraught. Um, yeah. Well, let me say a prayer. Lord, thank you for your word and thank you that you work through our messes and that your kingdom advances despite our sin and despite what our mistakes in life that cause us grief, as we read about King David and some of the poor decisions he made, and yet he was a man after your own heart, and he is beloved. And yet we read, at least I read, and I'm like, ew, ew, yuck, you know? But yet, I mean, it's kind of the story of what sin and brokenness can do in our lives, but yet your kingdom advances and you redeem us from our messes. um I just pray for everybody, Lord, who's watching or listening, if they need your comfort, that you comfort them and surround them with your angels and your love and your people. Give us wisdom as we read your word, and help us, Lord, to know that we're still in this story, that you're crafting, that you're writing, and that there's a purpose for our lives, even if we don't feel like there's a purpose. Or maybe we don't even have motivation to get up in the morning. So I need a little help with that right now, anyway. And I pray for anybody out there who needs a sense of purpose, that you give them that purpose, Lord, and give them a reason to get up in the morning and to be grateful for the day and for the life that they have. Bring us your joy, Lord. I pray for the peace of Jerusalem, the protection of Israel, and for your soon return, Messiah, Yeshua, Jesus. Pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Yeah, I know. I really do think we are in the last days. I mean, I know we're in the last days, but because the last days technically started at the cross over 2,000 years ago, but like the very, very last days, I think we're in those. So it's like, will I have kitties before the Lord returns? I don't know. Oh, no one knows the day or the hour, and it could be 100 years from now. It could be a year. I doubt it. It could be 10 years. It could be 50 years. It could be 6 months. It could be a month. I don't know. I could be 90. I could be 80. I could, who knows how old I'll be when Messiah returns. But anyway, I hope you all are well. And I pray you have a joyful day. Okay. Bye.